Hi, this is Jamie Steinberg with Starry Constellation Magazine. It's an absolute honor to get to chat with you. Um, this is the darkest role maybe you've took on before. Um, is that what drew you to this? Do you want to change things up a little bit?
You know, I, I mean, I've joked before that I kind of want to play like Gary Oldman-esque villains. You know what I mean? But no, I mean, I just love the story. I got sent the script, and I, I'm a voracious science fiction and fantasy reader, and I knew about the book. I'd not read this book. I did read it, but after I knew I was going to be a part of it. But I read the script, I was just kind of struck by. I think we're so used to reading and seeing things in this genre where we're expecting there to be some big, the big baddie's going to come or the zombies are going to come or something else. And this story, it's really human nature that's the villain. And I think that the show is trying to ask a great question about, if a small group of people survived, could we start over and do it in a better way and do it with love and kindness and do it to be in being one with our environment. And so to play a character that is the antithesis of that and that kind of represents, sadly, what we see far too often in our leadership in our world today, people that are looking for their own gain and to lie, cheat, and steal and take advantage of people, to very clearly know that this character functions to push against what the overall theme of the show was really fascinating and fun for me. And then also I do like playing characters that are a little bit off center because it's fun to try to get the audience on your side for as long as possible. And something like this, like obviously the shoe is going to drop, but before that shoe drops, can I have the audience think, well, maybe he's the answer, maybe he's a good guy, maybe he's a good leader, and then obviously he's not.
I thought you would say like maybe you were like, are you sure he doesn't sing at this point? And like we could add a dance number at some point. We could do it. To me, maybe the hardest scenes could have been um, the hunting or, hiding this darker backstory you have to your character. Was there a scene that was maybe the most hardest, in your opinion, for you to film either emotionally or physically?
I think once once the kind of shoe dropped, as I mentioned, right? Then after that, the scenes after that is when it kind of gets a little bit darker and there's no more artifice and I'm no longer trying to hide who I am from these people. And those are difficult, right? Because then you really have to, I had to say some lines that weren't very nice. And I think that you have to try to do that without judging the character, and that can be tough sometimes. And so you have to get to a place where you're comfortable with that. And luckily this cast and crew and the writers and the director, everyone was very, very clear about what story we were telling, and it made it okay for that to function because it really functions as part of the story, and none of it was gratuitous, or I didn't feel that. So, but it is difficult to get to that place because it's so kind of away from my own, moral compass. So you have to find out how you can do that without really judging the character.
Well, apocalyptic sci-fi shows are quite popular for fans today. How does this series set itself apart from shows sort of like The Walking Dead and The Last of Us?
I think those shows are wonderful in their own regard, but this show is just it's a much simpler version of that, right? We don't need the story functions without needing, you know, uh zombies or something kind of imminent coming. It's much more internal, and it's more about the internal struggle of, and I hope that people watch it and think like, wow, if I was in this situation, how would I handle it and how would I survive? And excuse me, how would I deal with the loss of family and how would I deal with the shock of all of this? I think it's a much deeper question than, how do I maybe evade zombies that are trying to, eat my brain. So I think it's just an interesting turn within the genre that I've not necessarily seen before.
Well, this is such a special series, as we mentioned for you. And it's sort of the destruction of modern society and how, if all, you guys can rebuild it. Is there a modern invention you don't feel that you could live without? Could this be
Um,
in time?
no, actually, the opposite of that. I think another thing that I thought a lot about was, and I've thought this before about the internet and social media and all of these things. Like, I think when I first started, like especially social media, like I wished it would just like go away and thought it would go away. Now you realize it's kind of not going away. But you know, I think the series also asks the question like if you could like hit cancel and or like delete on the internet or delete on a lot of technology we have or pull that plug, could we and should we? Um, and I think I know my answer. And but I think it's a good thing for people to think about when you see the lack of technology that's happening in the show.
We'll leave it open-ended. Thank you, Aaron, again for all of your time. You just are an exceptional actor all around, and I hope you're proud of the work you put into this series as well.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, and thank you.